It seems like it might be helpful for me to say right up front what I want you to take away from this sermon, even though, don't worry, there will not be a quiz at the end. But I do want you to give some thought to what helps you heal. What's in your first aid kit that helps you in times of pain? And I also want you to remember that you can be a source of healing for others, exactly as you are. Now, Michael has mentioned in previous weeks the difference between healing and curing. And I'm not going to lie, I am all for the cure. Please, yes, if we can, let's just fix it. But you know I can't leave it at that. Some of you have heard the story before, maybe more than once, of the time about 10 years ago when I woke up from a biopsy surgery on a cranial tumor, and I got the good news that it was benign, that they had been able to remove more of it than they'd expected to, and that everything had gone really well. And I said to my brother, who was at my bedside in the recovery room, "Yay, I'm not going to die." Maybe not with that much energy because I was just coming out of anesthesia. "Yay, I'm not going to die." And he replied cheerfully, "Oh, no, sorry, you're still going to die." It's funny because it's true. Every cure is temporary. It wouldn't be the right joke for everyone, but it was also funny because we were both giddy with relief that death seemed to have taken a step back for the time being. But we also both knew my brother would have been at my bedside, helping me to live and to laugh, no matter how the biopsy had turned out, because he loves me. Cures are wonderful when they're available, and I am glad that I'm still here to tell that story. But as many have observed from both inside and outside the sphere of physical medicine, it is possible to be cured without healing, and to heal without being cured. In fact, there are so many shelves of books on the topic of healing, many of them past and present bestsellers, that I would feel actually silly talking to you about this if I didn't know with such absolute clarity the truth of what Clara Pinkola Estes said in our earlier reading, that any small, calm thing that one soul can do to help another soul, to assist some portion of this poor, suffering world, will help immensely. You can probably feel the truth of this if you think about someone who helped you feel seen, heard, understood in a difficult time in your life. It may have been a doctor or a therapist or someone with professional credentials as a healer, but it's just as possible that you will remember a friend, a teacher, a family member, maybe even a stranger. What might be harder to feel, at least some of the time, is that this means you, too, really do make a difference when you let your soul shine forth. I don't know that it's a small, calm thing to write a song or a poem or a book. I know sometimes it isn't. But I know that many of us have found healing in the works of musicians, poets, and writers. Art in its many forms can give us the sense that we are connected in a deep way to something larger than ourselves. At any time, but even more so in this time of pandemic, when our ability to be together in the same place at the same time is limited, it is a great blessing to feel in some way seen, heard, and known across time and space when a piece of music, a poem, a painting, or a sculpture expresses something beautiful and true. I love that when I talk to our children about what they would put in a first aid kit, they thought of songs, books, and knitting as items to consider. As you think about what helps you make meaning and hear your own spirit, what might you add to your kit? Pencils, pens, paint, and paper? Maybe clay or wood? Shop tools, fasteners? maybe a musical instrument or two or three. In our consumer culture, it is easy to forget the healing power of creativity, and we hand over the making of art to a select few, and in the process lose something precious. I love too that Bella mentioned a plant as something she'd put in a healing kit. I have heard from so many of you that your garden or the woods are healing places for you, places that ground and renew you. For others, it is water, it's rivers, it's lakes, or the ocean. This year, this season, with our options for civilized outings severely curtailed by the pandemic, I propose that our first aid kits need good winter clothing to keep our minds, bodies, and spirits as healthy as they can be, and that we push ourselves to connect with those outdoor places that feed our souls. One of the authors of those best-selling books on healing is Brene Brown, a research professor who has written 5 books on the bestseller list, and she is well known for her work on the power of vulnerability. In trying to discover what qualities made for what she calls wholehearted people, and I think Clara Pinkola Estes would recognize these people as those souls shining on deck, her research led her to the idea that wholehearted people are those who, as she puts it in the bio on her website, embrace the suck. She reports that her current motto is courage over comfort. So, how do we put courage in our first aid kit? The courage to embrace the suck. The courage to create and let our souls shine on deck through a song, a poem, or a painting, even when we feel shy about our abilities. In a culture that puts such high value on perfection, on expertise, on wealth and polished exteriors, we make it a lot harder than I think it ought to be. One thing ministry has taught me, beyond any shadow of a doubt, is how often people suffer because they can't summon the courage to admit they are suffering. Rachel Naomi Remen, a doctor and an author of a couple more of those best-selling books on healing, wrote in Kitchen Table Wisdom that wholeness lies beyond perfection. She notes that we surrender our wholeness for a variety of reasons, hiding parts of ourselves in hopes of gaining approval from our friends, our family, our co-workers, even our faith communities. She goes on to say that it is only human to trade wholeness for approval, but that we can remember our wholeness at any time. In hiding it, we have kept it safe. I appreciate her balanced understanding. A survival instinct serves a purpose, and of course there are times when we are justified in protecting ourselves. However, the longer I live, the more I believe the Jews got it right by teaching that it is a mitzvah, or a good deed, to allow others to help you. Our covenant to help one another doesn't mean much if none of us is willing to be helped. Imagine if at the end of every service we joined hands and sang, "To you I give, to you I give, to you I give, and from this we live." That would just be silly. Soul Matters, which is the Unitarian Universalist theme-based resource service that we are using this year for our themes, frames each theme as a question in the form of, what does it mean to be a people of? So for November, what does it mean to be a people of healing? And in this month of exploring healing, I have been struck by how often we have circled back to October's question, what does it mean to be a people of deep listening? If we are to be a people of healing, I think we must also be a people who deeply listen to our own inner wisdom, to the people around us, to our history, to the interconnected web, that supports all life, and to God, the divine, the source, the mystery beyond what we can fully know. Sometimes the small, calm thing you can do to heal that part of the world in your reach is to listen deeply to another soul's story. That may be as informal as picking up the phone when it rings, or as intentional as a covenant group meeting when we promise to listen without interrupting one another as we tell the stories that matter to us. Sometimes you may need to make space to listen to your own soul or to a sacred text that holds wisdom and healing for you. For this, there is meditation and prayer. I have a love-hate relationship with my phone, but I'd probably tuck it in my healing kit just because of the meditation app. Your kit might need a yoga mat or prayer beads, a book of poetry or a Bible. Whatever it is that helps you to connect with your still small voice. Let us end by returning to the beginning, to those beautiful words of Clara Pinkola Estes, reminding us that one of the most calming and powerful actions you can do to intervene in a stormy world is to stand up and show your soul. Soul on deck shines like gold in dark times. I am here to tell you your soul does not need to be perfect in any way, to throw up sparks, to send flares, to build signal fires, and to help struggling souls catch light from your light. If you would help to calm the tumult, if you would heal, this is one of the strongest things you can do. Amen, and blessed be.